Lovely to talk to you. I was hoping to catch up with you in person at the IPDLN meeting in Adelaide, but of course the COVID pandemic's meant that we just can't go ahead with that meeting. We are of course going ahead with the virtual conference and we're really looking forward to seeing you there. But perhaps before we get to the conference, I'm just wondering how Germany's faring in the face of the pandemic.
Currently, the situation is quite relaxed. For example, my lady is a doctor at a hospital, and currently they have no active cases. So it's quite favored now, and people are getting much more relaxed than weeks before. So the situation seems to be in a much better light than weeks ago.
Oh, that's very positive, and certainly Europe seems to be a little bit calmer in terms of the spread, although of course there are pockets where that's definitely not the case. And has the pandemic been affecting the actual work that you do?
Yes. Most of the time I'm working as a survey methodologist, and fieldwork and surveys are being heavily disturbed by the pandemic. Face-to-face interviews are impossible currently, and therefore fieldwork has moved to telephone and web surveys mostly, and a few mail surveys. And I'm involved in census operations, and the census will most likely be delayed for 1 or perhaps even 2 years. And therefore the impact has been really large on data collection efforts in Germany.
Oh, that's really interesting. So have you been involved, apart from that, in any of the COVID-19 research or providing support for government?
Not from a governmental perspective. The government is highly centralized, at least in health topics, and or especially in respect to research on COVID. We have tried to convince as sampling statisticians the government to do some random samples of the population to estimate the zero prevalence of COVID in the population. But they decided to stay with cluster samples, and we are working daily on that to convince them that we need a random sample of the population. So that's the main involvement.
Yes, that's really important. So hopefully you're successful in convincing them. And do you think there are opportunities for international collaboration around COVID, perhaps through IPDLN or in other ways? There obviously is some collaboration through the actual, at the clinical space and in the research around the vaccine, but more at the population level.
On a population level, there are many questions which will be answered by using administrative data from the hospitals, but that will take months or even years. I think the actual treatment records from the hospitals will give an excellent opportunity to study the development within cases over time. But currently this data is not available in Germany and will take in Germany years for sure. I hope that other countries like Australia will be much faster and be a nice example on how to do it correctly.
Well, we hope we'll be a little faster. What's happened for us is that most of our states, and a lot of that administrative data is collected at the state level, most of our states have got notifiable disease registers, and they're linking that registry data with the other administrative data. And I guess one thing that COVID has done is meant that linkage is being done much more frequently. It used to be done on an annual basis, and now it's being maybe done weekly or almost near real time, which is a great advance, really. But
sorry. In the long run, I'm sure that the way we collaborate has changed a lot during the special circumstances, and the using electronic means to communicate research data or conferences or workshops or even online collaborating tools will change for sure the way we work in all academic fields.
Yes, I hope so, and I think we won't return to the old way of doing things. And that's perhaps an excellent segue into what's happening with the conference. As you know, it was going to be a face-to-face, but that hasn't been possible. And we're working really hard to deliver a virtual conference for the network in October. And so just wondering, what do you think are the benefits or opportunities from a virtual conference?
I've seen some nice examples of virtual conferences in computer science recently, and I think it will give a large opportunity for people to attend these conferences, which up to now have not been able to attend. And therefore, we might extend the community involved in this kind of work a lot. And the same applies to the workshops which are associated to the conferences. For example, some software vendors have now started to do workshops on using the software in online environments, and the number of participants is astonishing. And therefore, I think it will give a really boost to this kind of electronic education.
Yes, I think that's right. And for us being an international group, certainly from Australia, I don't think we'll be back on aeroplanes anytime soon for international travel. So I think a virtual conference certainly provides some opportunities. And of course, living in Australia, it's always a long way to anywhere else. So that's probably a good thing, probably good for the planet as well. Look, it's really great to talk to you, Raina. I'm really looking forward to talking to you again when we get around the table at the virtual conference. And meanwhile, stay safe.
You too. Thank you very much for the call.